renewed living, navigating the next chapter.
Mm-hmm.
So I am Erica, as Grace mentioned. A little bit about me. Growing up, I was always surrounded by seniors. My mom had a lot of aunts, so I had a lot of great aunts, and then my grandparents. And so every day after school, I would always go to one of their houses, and they would often have their friends over for cocktails. And so I loved sitting and listening to their stories, and I learned so much from them. And I spent a lot of my time with them. And so it kind of just led me to a comfort and a passion for seniors just in general. And then fast forward to I was about 19 years old, and two of my great aunts, so they're sisters, never got married, never had kids. They just lived together their whole life. And the more independent one, the one that took care of all the driving and the, grocery shopping, all that kind of stuff, she one day had a stroke, and it was really bad. So she lost the ability to walk. And so she had to go immediately into a long-term care facility. And so when that happened, the other one was quite lost without her. So she asked me, she wasn't ready to go into a place herself. So she asked me if I would help her out with certain things like running errands and, take her to appointments, that kind of stuff. And so I did. And of course, when I spent time with her, we would also go visit her sister. And when we were there, we would participate in the recreational programs that they would have, the exercise classes, we'd go on the bus outings. And it was through that I discovered what recreation therapy was. In some places, they call it life enrichment coordinators. So they're the ones in the retirement communities that provide all the activities on the big calendar, all the events, the bus outings, all that kind of stuff. And so from finding that out, that led me into a career in recreation therapy. And I did that for years, working with all levels of care. And in the back of my mind, I always had this dream that I wanted to, because there's this stigma surrounding retirement living. People often picture just like a cold, sterile kind of nursing home kind of setting. And it's not like that anymore. And especially like now there's even more options. It's not about waiting until you have, until something terrible happens. It's about just choosing like freedom of choice, basically. And, you can just enjoy your retirement and you don't have to worry about anything. And there's support nearby should you need it. So I wanted to start my own company where I could help seniors navigate through all of these options and help them find a place where they can live a meaningful, purposeful life and thrive. And because there's just so many great places out there and so many great opportunities and options. And so that is where I launched my company October 1st, 2019, and here we are today. So thank you for joining me. And so I'll go into, so what is Renewed Living? So Renewed Living is a retirement living concierge service to help you navigate through a wide variety of retirement living options and resources so you can find the perfect living environment and make that transition with ease. And that's where I come in. So navigating your retirement living options. So you can think of me as like your personal GPS to retirement living, because there are so many questions and so many things to consider. It's hard to know where to start. So questions you might think like, what are my retirement living? Like, what are my options? What are the differences between these options? Because you hear different terms thrown out at you. And if you've never done this before, you have no idea what it means or what category you fit into, and what are the retirement living options in my neighborhood, and how do I know which ones are right for me or safe, and the big one, and this is why I'm talking to you guys, can I afford to live in a retirement community? And if I require government funding, how does that work? Because that is an option as well. So I provide you with clarity and confidence so you know that you are making the right choice. So some of the services, but not limited to, that I provide help you find a safe retirement living option that matches your criteria and your interests, hobbies, all of that. One-on-one meetings with you in person or Zoom to discuss and compare the options. Once I've found matches for you, we will go over them and compare cost and amenities and all of those things. Arrange and accompany you on all tours as your advocate and support. Now, some places, because it's COVID, they're doing virtual tours now, but I can still assist. Some of my clients require assistance with the virtual tours, so I will be there with them to do it, but some people are okay and can handle that technology, so then I just set it up for them, and then they do the rest. So, and I help you navigate the system should you require any government subsidies, because that is they make you jump through hoops. It is so frustrating. Connections to valuable and trusted resources. So I have a whole bunch of great connections that help you through the whole process, this whole journey. So resources that Renew Living can provide: downsizing, packing, and moving professionals. So this is a big thing. So when you are looking to transition into a retirement community, you may be downsizing from a much bigger place, like a house or even just a bigger condo or townhouse. And you may not be able to bring all your stuff because you're now transitioning from a house to maybe a 1-bedroom condo. And so there are professionals that come in and they help you go through all of your stuff, but with compassion, because they understand that there is memory attached to everything, right? There's sentiment, there's, each thing kind of there was some sort of event or something that happened. It might be meaningful to you. So they're very compassionate and they help you go through stuff and decide, what stuff you're going to keep, what stuff you might want to donate, or maybe you want to sell some stuff or give to loved ones. And then once you've done all of that, the organizing, they help with the packing. They do all of that for you, and the moving to the new place, and they'll unpack on the other side for you. So you don't even have to worry. And it's also really great for families who are trying to do this for their loved one, but they live out of town and they can't be there to do it, especially during COVID. It's nice to have a professional that can come in and that your loved one is taken care of in that way. Another resource that I can connect you to is senior real estate specialists. So they're real estate agents that specialize solely in working with seniors. So they understand at a higher capacity of the needs that and the financial needs of seniors and what they're looking for. And they also too have knowledge about retirement living communities, because they sometimes do that kind of transition as well. And then financial advisors and accountants for income tax, lawyers for wills and estates, power of attorney if you need to update that, and dementia care support, which is a really big one. So I have connections to a dementia care consultant who is wonderful, and she will work with families who have a loved one who has some form of dementia or Alzheimer's, and just provides them with strategies and coping strategies basically, and different exercises and things that you can use to get through that, and just reminding you to take care of yourself, because if you're a caregiver, you have to take care of yourself as well, or else you're going to burn out. So those are not all the resources, but many resources that I can connect you to. So all this talk of retirement living. So what is a retirement living community? So before meeting me, before anything that I've said, would someone like to answer this? So when someone says anything of like retirement living community or retirement residence or anything like that, what is the first thing that comes to your mind?
When they say they retire on a retirement living, it's they're going to be confined. I think that's what I understood to one of the
confined. Okay.
Yes, confined is the word when they move into because they're going to be downsizing, and
Yeah.
moving to a building, right?
Yeah.
Or a condo or something. So for their understanding, they'll be not be able to move around. Like meaning whatever their freedom, it will be cut off, something like
Yeah.
that. So those are the things. So those are the things when they started to get depressed or unhappy.
Yeah, exactly. And that is one of the biggest concerns that many people have, because they think it's basically, they hear that and they picture a nursing home. And
Yes.
I hate that word. Even long-term care today is not like with dementia care and all that is not like a nursing home. Like, yes, there are still some old facilities that may look like that and need to change. They're in the process of that, but they have made incredible growth. But now there is, which we'll get into, there is different levels of care, like some not even requiring any care. So this is where my passion jumps in, because I want to show people that there is just so much more. And it's basically just like condo living. It's not, you're not in prison, you're not in a hospital. It's actually quite beautiful. Retirement living community is a residential community that caters to older adults, that includes meals, housekeeping, activities of interest, outings, and various amenities such as a gym, a library, private dining room, lecture halls, so you can learn new skills. Sometimes they have lecturers to come in, like professors from UBC can come in, a spa, hair salon, guest suite, theater, I mean, it just goes on. These communities can also have care staff on site for assistance with activities of daily living, like medication reminders and dispensing. You may need a little bit of assistance with bathing, dressing, wound care, that kind of thing. So the first level of care, which really you don't need care in this situation, it's independent living. So what is independent living? It is essentially just condo living with a choice of studio all the way up to usually 2 bedrooms. Some places have 3 bedrooms. That allows you just the option of, it will have a full kitchen. So you can prepare some of your meals if you want, or you can go downstairs, and a lot of places have multiple dining rooms that have they'll have like a bistro and then a more fancier restaurant. And then some places have just like one set dining room. And so you can choose to have your meals with the rest of the residents downstairs, or you can cook your own meals. It's just all about freedom in independent living, freedom from daily household chores, maintenance and upkeep. And if you're a snowbird, who likes to travel for 6 months of the year, not during COVID, but pre-COVID and post-COVID, say you go to Mexico for 6 months, you don't have to worry about I got to shut off my water and who's going to water my plants and who's going to take care of all my stuff. You can just go and do that, and you know that your place is going to be safe and well looked after. And there's also support nearby if you need it. So it provides you with weekly housekeeping, so you don't have to worry about cleaning anymore. Like I said, your meals, you get daily recreation programs and activities of interest. And exercise, fitness classes, they're just literally an elevator ride away or down the hall. So it's also really nice during COVID too, because you don't have to leave your bubble and you can still go and participate in these exercise classes, remain active, but in a safe, socially distanced way. They also have shuttle buses to take you on various outings. Some even do overnight trips. It just provides you with peace of mind. So staff on site 24/7, in the event that something does happen, then there's someone there. Because everyone, even in independent living, you'll get a call bell. And so if something were to happen to you all of a sudden, you can just press the bell and someone will come and give you attention. So what are the benefits of independent living? So like we said, travel without worry, socialization, that is huge, especially right now, because being isolated on your own, it's terrible for your mental well-being. And I mean, we all know that. It's nice to have that social connection. So new friendships, opportunities to remain active, learn a new skill. There may be something you've always wanted to try, but you just didn't have time because you were busy working, or you had kids and now your kids are adults and you're retired, and so it's just lots of opportunities. Intergenerational programs. Now it's pen pal programs, but pre-COVID it was in person. Hopefully we'll be getting to that soon again, but these are great opportunities because there's a lot of seniors who they may have grandkids, but their grandkids live far away. So they miss that connection with the younger generations, or they don't have grandkids and always wish that they did. So it's just nice. And it's nice for the kids too. And they learn a lot from each other. Delicious and nutritious meals. And I mean, I've eaten at these places. They're very good. Support nearby should you need it, like we talked about. And so like the three main things to longevity or increase longevity and improving your mental well-being is socialization, proper nutrition, and remaining active. And all of those things are completely taken care of in a retirement community. And then the next two levels are assisted living versus long-term care. So what are the differences between these two? So sometimes, the confusing part with long-term care is some people call it long-term care, some people call it complex care, some people call it nursing home, some people, so it's like, oh my God, what do they all mean? Some people say memory care. So assisted living is it's like right in between independent and long-term. And so it provides, both of them provide all the amenities that I just discussed, that independent living includes, but it also has various forms of support. So with assisted, it's more minimal support, just here and there if you need it. Like I said, like medication reminders, or you might need a gentle reminder, it's going to be dinner time in 15 minutes if you want to come down to the dining room. You may need just a little bit of assistance with bathing or dressing, but not fully. Again, wound care if you came back from a surgery or something. So it's just minimal things here and there. Long-term, or the many other terms I just mentioned, is all under the same umbrella, and that is 24/7 support. So if you have Alzheimer's or another form of dementia, or maybe you are in a wheelchair due to rheumatoid arthritis or a stroke, various reasons. So you need help maybe transferring from your chair to your bed or anything. Just basically around the clock. So they give you all your meals. They will do everything for you. But even in there, you still get to participate in all the same recreational programs. And they modify things. You can do things in there that you wouldn't think you could normally do, but that is where recreation therapists come in, and they just basically put on their creative thinking cap and they just get in there, and you can do I'll just share one little memory of when I was working at the last place I was at as a recreation therapist. We took a busload, 16 residents. Some of them, half of them were in wheelchairs and the other half were not. But we took them to an adaptive horseback riding place. And so some of these seniors, they used to ride horses when they were younger and thought, they really missed it. And they thought they were never going to get to do that again. And then others had never tried it. And again, thought, well, that time's passed for me. Or they thought because they're in a wheelchair, they're not going to be able to do that. But we made it happen for all of them. And because they had all the proper equipment, the proper safety lifts, and we got them up there. And it was just, they were beaming. They were so happy. It was amazing. It was such a special day to watch them get to horseback ride again. And here they were thinking that they could never do that. So trust me when I say you're not limited now. There's just so many options, and so much extra training goes into, especially like with memory care residents as well. So it's definitely a different world from the old school nursing home that we all dread. So, and I just wanted to say this is a word from one of my previous clients. And this is, I wrote a blog about her, and I wanted to get her take on independent living, because that's what her and her sister were looking for, independent living. And I wanted to get a little bit of feedback on what, after seeing everything, what she thought and what her opinion was, and any advice that she may have had. So she said, in a retirement community, you aren't alone or isolated. Instead, you have a group of like-minded people living and sharing common amenities. There is the option for companionship in whatever you do. And to me, taking part in activities with others is more fun than doing them on your own. So that was Laura, my client. And then so a word from Irene. So Irene is a lady that I also wrote a blog about this with her. She wasn't a client of mine, but she was already living in independent living and had been for a couple of years. And I really wanted to get someone's insight on, what it was like living in there. You had been living there for a few years. What brought you to independent living? How do you feel about it? What is your take on it? And again, advice for other people who are maybe on the fence and not sure about it. So she said, if you've lost a partner, that's how she ended up making that choice. She lost her husband. Not only is it difficult, but you have to accept the possibility that you might become lonely or isolated. So again, they mentioned isolation. Transitioning into a retirement community helps alleviate those feelings by finding new companionship and being part of a community. It provides you with opportunities to try new things and meet new people. And she said, I asked her what her favorite thing to do was in her retirement community. And she says to enjoy a glass of red wine with friends while listening to live musical entertainment. And since she moved in, she has a new boyfriend, and she's very happy. So yeah, they probably, I don't know if they're still having musical entertainment, but I know that they would come to happy hours a lot, and they would dance and get a great time. So yeah, she was a lovely lady. And so a lot of people right now, because of COVID, are scared to death of retirement living because of COVID and the way the media talks about everything and long-term care and, just the spread, and they've been hit the hardest. So what are some benefits to living in a retirement community during a pandemic? So as we talked about, 24-hour care staff on site for if anything were to come up. And for instance, they are doing rapid testing in these places on both residents and staff. They have nurses there if you weren't feeling good or you needed, let's say you had to go for a lab procedure that you were a little bit uncertain about or worried about. The nurses would be able to prepare you for that. And also when you come home from that, depending on what your procedure was, or if it was day surgery or whatever, they can help care for you afterwards until you recuperate. They can also perform glucose tests. Some do blood tests, urine tests in there, and you don't have to leave or go to a lab if you're feeling really nervous about that. Some even have doctor's offices, labs, and pharmacies like right under the same roof. So that's another handy feature. You no need to go to the grocery store. So all your meals are provided, but if you do want to cook, a lot of places have adapted because of COVID. A lot of people, like the big word has been pivot. And so how they have pivoted a bit is they have kind of created, I guess, like their own version of like a farmer's market. So they brought a little market into the, they usually do it in the main lobby or the lounge. Where they bring in, fresh local produce, bakery items like, bread and essentials, eggs, dairy, all kinds of things that you may want to just buy on hand right there and then go upstairs and prepare it. Or if you didn't want to, let's say you don't drive anymore, they also provide with the bus service, they also have car service as well. And they will drive you to the grocery store or wherever it is that you need to go. Or if you need to go see your doctor, they will take you there. So there's just some benefits of being under that or being in a retirement community. And again, social interaction, which is huge. Opportunities to remain active in a socially distanced way, because a lot of recreation centers closed down during COVID, and they did slowly start to open, but then the new restrictions happened. So that affected a lot of people who like to remain active. So this is another option. You can still do all those same kinds of things, but they're all under the same roof. And as I mentioned, yeah, some communities have their own doctor's offices, labs, and pharmacies, like I said. So in that scenario, you would just all be under one roof. You just go down the hall and you don't have to even leave the building. And all of these places have beautiful grounds to walk on. And again, you have freedom, like especially in independent living. Like a lot of the people, they do have their own cars, and you come and go as you please. You're not locked in there. So it's, you can come and go. So you're not confined. You're not in prison. It's just condo living, but people are doing things for you. So it's kind of like almost like resort style living. So there you go. So here's to your next chapter. This is your time, so make it the best. And this is one of my favorite quotes by David Bowie. So I'm going to leave you with this. Aging is an extraordinary process where you become the person you always should have been. And I totally 100% agree with that. And this is a way that you can explore that. So thank you so much for listening to me. That's the end of my presentation.
It's really good.
Thank you so much, Erica.
Wow.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Thank you. I'm sorry I came in a few minutes late, but I fall in love already with your program.
Oh. Thank you. I hope I didn't information overload. But
Oh my God, it was
It's very actually educating, because like you've said, they look at retirement living as the other one, retirement home, where they cannot do anything.
Oh yeah, like a nursing
like
home.
a nursing home.
Yeah,
Sorry, that's the right word.
Yeah.
Yes, nursing home.
Yeah, no, it actually improves your freedom by moving into these places, because you're allowing people to assist you with the things that may be limiting you if you were in your home. And so then you kind of get rid of those limitations, right? So you got that support that you need so that you can get on with your day and do whatever it is that you love to do. So